Hello, welcome to Productions MJC.
Today we're going to be talking a little bit more about flat Earth and flat Earth fails. The reason being is I was left a comment on an earlier video by the Flat Earth Society explaining that I didn't address convergence, and they said the world wasn't a globe anyway. Convergence in drawing or painting refers to linear perspective. In linear perspective, all lines that are parallel converge together as they run along to a point at a person's eye level, also known as the horizon line, in the picture place. This phenomenon is known as convergence. This is what they're talking about. See, the air lines converge with the ground lines at the horizon. Some say making an interference point. They're saying that all lines converge at the horizon or the vanishing point, but really this is what you see inside the red box. There's no such thing as a divergent. There's convergent, and that's it. There's no magical area beyond where all the lines converge. They don't suddenly expand back out and get wider. This is what a person sees. They see the converging lines going towards a vanishing point to which they disappear. They don't magically explode on the other side. And I'll explain further on why that is so and why they like to say that. But as these convergent lines come together, and these I'm doing all of this from a person's video and off flat Earth illustrations on the internet. You can find them yourself, where they use these illustrations to prove their point. And this is what they're talking about, the convergence line. Really, this is simply a mirage, but they will say it's a convergent line. It's where the converged lines from the air above and the water below make a disturbance line that hides the hull of the boat, for instance. Well, that in itself is not correct, but I'll further explain why. As I show you this, as we look at this and we see the various different ways that the lines do converge at the vanishing point and do tend to meet at the horizon, I will explain convergence more in realistic terms. It's actually just like for drawing and such. Now, this is what actually happens. You'll notice, pay close attention to the green man, the circle at C, and the A, the bulge height. Later on, I will show you what's happening, but they're trying to tell you that there are 603 feet of convergence line. Okay? They're trying to tell you that where the water and air converge, it makes this convergence line. Well, as you can see, there's no blur. You can see Toronto, it's 39 miles away. It shows that 603 feet of the CN towers disappeared. And you can see in this photo they use, there is no blur. Now, back to the perspective matrix. They're trying to tell you that everything from that man's head to feet is blurred. Well, I am going to merge these two pictures together and show you this perfectly explains their divergent section, perfectly explains the bulge and such. If you'll notice, the little green man is right here. The C at the horizon is right there, and there's your bulge height, nearly perfectly the same size as their divergent section. That's how they try to explain away the bulge, but there really is a bulge because you are on a globe. There is 603 feet of that tower missing. That is what the bulge is. That's quite a ways away. 39 miles. I mean, that's quite a ways away. This is a pretty good telephoto lens. They've got a pretty good picture of the situation. And as you can see, you can't even see the buildings next to the CN tower. They're gone. Perspective is for drawing. It can explain certain things, like the vanishing point, how buildings seem to tilt, but it does look like that in real life, but you know they aren't tilting. As a matter of fact, these two sticks are exactly the same height, but because the way the lines are drawn, the back line looks bigger. Same with these railroad tracks. The back line looks bigger. It looks to, and in real life, it would have to be bigger to cover the tracks. But I want you to notice something right here. Exactly the same width. It's only the railroad tracks drawn that way that make it look bigger. But in real life, it would be bigger if it was that big and that far away. The line plate, the ice have tricks played on them by lines. There was no cube, there are no triangles, but your mind seems to fill in the dots and make the triangles. Now I want you to notice this time lapse, sunrise to sunset, and again these are off flat Earth. The sun stays roughly the same size. It doesn't get smaller or bigger, it stays roughly the same diameter. Now, and again, I'm using all stuff from their videos. We know that this is inaccurate from my last video, but I'll explain it again. This is a projection drawn from a globe, and it shows Brisbane to Perth is roughly 200 kilometers more. This is like 36. This is like 33 something. It's 200 or 300 kilometers difference. And here's the difference on this map. This map is to scale because it's been drawn from a globe. This is not to scale. This distance right here is nearly 2.5 times as long as it is here. But in real life, they are incredibly close. This flat Earth that they use on their website and in their videos, this particular projection is not to scale. It's wrong right off the bat. Now, and they have to use this. Now, flat Earth or sphere perspective still applies, and it does. But why isn't that moon a teeny tiny dot? So it says, do the math. Do the math. This is a flat Earth person telling us to do math, to figure stuff out. So I did math. This is a 4-mile shot of a laser test. They keep out of focus here. They don't zoom in because you wouldn't see anything below this footprint. Here's the math. There is no horizon line at 4 miles, actual or refracted. We're looking at quite a bit of refraction. We're looking, 39 miles, 10 times as far as that laser test almost. You can go to this. You can test this for yourself. You can take this same picture. You can go to Alcott, New York. Now here's the math. 604 feet would be the refracted hidden. If the viewer was 24 feet in the air and it was 39 miles, that works out to exactly what the picture showed. So here's their representation of what it would be. They use this all the time, but we know this is inaccurate because it's not to scale, because Australia is wrong. As the sun moves across the Earth, in their demonstration, it's 3,000 miles at noon. So that's the closest point, because at any other time it's going to be farther away. So at noon they draw these big balls, and then they draw tinier ones as it goes away, which it should if their representation was true, because perspective still applies. Remember what the flat Earth person said. Perspective applies whether it's a ball Earth or whether it's flat. That's why they draw these big suns at noon and tiny ones at sunrise or sunset. Here's a moon on the ocean. It's not tiny. Remember again, the flat Earth person said perspective applies flat or globe. So perspective has to apply. It has to be small at the edges, big in the middle. Again, here's the golden energy. This was something else I took, and I want to show you this again to keep in mind perspective. It's 6.5 miles away. It's barely over the curve of the ocean, of the globe. The Yellowstone is 7, and the Spirit is 9, and it's gone. There is no blur. There is no convergence, or else it would blur out this part of this ship. Those 3 ships were photographed with one photograph. This is from a flat Earth video. They were showing you this and saying, see, it's convergence is hiding it, but there's no such thing. Where the senses fail us, reason must step in. You saw on that thing, there's no way the sun can float around their representation of a flat earth. Australia is not to scale. This is wrong. Now, again, let's go back to the perspective thing and the convergence. Big sun, smaller as it goes to the horizon. So that sun is roughly 2¼ times as big. So here it is again, flat or sphere, perspective still applies. Do the math. Okay, let's do the math. This is from a flat earth proving they say that the sun gets roughly 5 pixels smaller every 3.5 minutes. According, the 290 is inaccurate because they're really not, they waited a little too long to get that picture. But let's go with the 297. So to get to noon, that's 240 minutes, 4 hours. So we've got 240 minutes divided by 3.5 minutes times the 5 pixels plus the 297 original pixels would give us roughly 640 pixels. So at noon, according to their facts and figures and numbers, it should be twice the size. Well, this is an optical illusion. This dot is the same as that dot. They're the same size. But that's why the moon or sun looks bigger in a harvest moon or something as it gets to the edge, because these perspective lines, if it was following perspective, it would get smaller. Now, this is from a flat earth video as well. Boats prove there is no curvature. They say, I mean, I kid you not, they say the water rises up to where the viewer sees it and then goes flat. Really? Water rises up and then goes flat? I thought they said water was flat everywhere. So let's merge those two pictures into one. Let's merge this version of their convergent with their version of how water rises up and then goes flat, and let's tilt it so that we can get the two horizon lines to meet. And when we do, wow, look what happens. Right here where the two horizons meet, the water bends down and goes around a curve. See, it's flat right here. The water is flat. The vision of the person is tilted down looking at where the horizon is. That's why you see this. I mean, there's your explanation right there about convergence and perspective. The water stays flat, the person's eyes are bending down, and right at the horizon the water goes around the curve. I don't know how anyone can explain it more accurately. And see, again, I'm using all of their information. This picture would be impossible on a flat earth. Just look at the moon and see. Well, thanks again for watching. I really do appreciate the time that you take to look at these. Whether you accept the truth or not is, your choice, but at least you've taken the time to do this. Their presentations are slick, but I've been using stuff from their presentations, but showing you how it's impossible for their representation of it to work. Don't be fooled by the slick presentations. Please like and subscribe, spread the word, keep the truth flowing, please. And again, thank you to the Flat Earth Society for prompting this video. Have a great day.
Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. This has been Productions MJC.